applications. It could be a lot of reasons. It could be because of liability issues. It could be maybe they think you're not ready, or maybe because that master, that instructor just don't want to get into that. So is that true that it really depends on the instructor that whether they get into the application?
Well, it's very true. You know, depends on when you talk about this, is say like a few decades ago, or the 19th century, last century, or another day. Okay, the old time. Sometimes the teacher doesn't want to teach you too much. They just show you some form and satisfy you. You think that you get everything and say bye bye to you. Okay, or sometimes the teacher, they teach you the form to test on you, see if you digest from the form. Okay, here's a very important thing I want to share with everybody. I think how you train the Chinese martial art or Kung Fu traditional way. The most important is you cannot just do the form. We call form as a 练法. Okay, but in the meantime, parallel training, you need a 功法, which is you build up your strength. I mean from the maybe equipment, from weapon, okay, or single movements over and over, or stances, standing there. So this is a 功法, but then the other one is the most important, is 打法. So you need to learn how to do the actual application. Starting maybe something very simple, like pushing hand, or like one person's a dummy, the other person was using it. But gradually you moving into more applications, and with all different scenarios. Because of fighting, you face to a biggest issue is variable, which means change. The Chinese history talking about changes, and you know that maybe the famous book Lao Tzu, Dao De Jing, and Lao Tzu, they were talking about his concept coming from the book of change.
Maybe at this break, you can ask the master to expand on that.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my opinion. Is when you train yourself, not just the form. You need to train the form and understand the form. So the instructor is very important. And also you need to train properly, follow the good instruction to learn how to build up your strength. That's a 功法. So it's a 练法, 功法, and 打法. 打法is the one I just mentioned. You know how to use it. So that way, when you really go to the situation, either you come here for demonstration, or you're going on the street, all of a sudden somebody was threatening your life or your family's life. And that's the point you got to fight.
Any other questions?
I do have one question, and I'm sorry, I'm totally going to butcher your names because I'm who I am. And I didn't type fast enough to get this. I was lucky enough to come here. I've watched the energy of everyone, and I would like to know if there's a web presence or some printed format for Masters Shi Yongqing and Wang Ji Hai, because I don't know how to find this elsewise.
All right. 他有一个问题问施老师跟王老师，他问你们有没有website？ 你们在网上有一个网站吗？他想找多一些关于你们的资料，你可以到哪里去找？
有网站，咱们看不见了，看起来我有自己的网站。
也有网站。有。Okay, he does have a Master Wang has a website. So at the break time, you can come up and he can give you that information. 施老师，你有网站吗？你们的少林网站？施老师。
我们少林寺有一个官方网站，那上面有我们的一些关于修禅、关于这个武术、关于医术，还有关于我们少林寺的历史文化。
Okay, the Shaolin Temple has an official website. If you go up there, it has a lot of background information about Shaolin, the temple and its Kung Fu, and a little history. Also introduce the different martial monks. Now, what about your cultural center in California? 你是在加州有一个少林？
对，我们在这个洛杉矶有一个少林寺文化中心。 但那个探测身体
你等一下可以写你的那个资料。
可以，我们有一些那个
Yeah, they also have in California, in Los Angeles, a Shaolin Cultural Center that you can get more information from. So at the break time, be sure you get all those information from them. Okay? Thank you.
我们有一个文化中心在这个探测身体，我如果想了解的话，我们可以在这个我们有一个 flyer， 可以
He actually had brought some flyers about the Shaolin Cultural Center. Okay, any other questions? Yes. Okay. Part A of your question first, okay? This is a follow-up question to Jason, actually.
To answer your question, is I really don't know how much time you can have for your daily training. But I think daily training is very important. If say, for example, if today I only have 1 hour, do I divide the 1 hour into 3 parts? Or do I need to emphasize something more than the other? I think it's flexible. It's up to you. Okay. If you feel like your form needs to be trained more, especially if you're just learning something new, you can spend a little longer time.
And I think it really depends on yourself, the individual. What do you want to get out of it? What level do you want to get to? For some people, they only want 2 times a week. 1 hour each exercise. To those people, it's just that 2 hours exercise a week. That's all they want. Then, okay, you see what you want to do, right? If you say, I want to be like one of the masters eventually in a few years, well, then you're going to have to put in some time. Remember that Kung Fu is time and hard training, right? So it really depends on the individual how much time you want to put into it.
I don't know if that answered your question. But I think that I give you one suggestion. When you're talking about alpha, training the real fighting technique, you never can be a loner. You cannot train alone. Shadow boxing doesn't work. Okay, you got to find a good partner. The more, the better.
I have maybe one suggestion to you to get to. You want to learn martial art. Martial art is like like you're getting a wife. Okay. You have to constantly thinking about it, make connection with it. Okay?
What did you say?
Yeah, everybody was giving it right. There's no such thing as I practice 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day, I become good. It's all about how much you think about it, what's your passion about it. If you're very passionate about it, you start digging up all the research and everything on martial art, not just in the martial art area. Real fighting martial art includes tactic, includes, like Newton's law. I often tell people that Dorothy Hamill is my master because she spins and understands to shrink the radius to spin faster. Mark Split is my sifu because he knows how to open from the chest. That's why he swing really fast. So I do a lot of those things to look at other sport and to improve my own movement. And just the movement cannot fight. And you have to think about when you're in a situation, what's your tactic? And so you have to constantly thinking about that. How much time you need? When I was young, I used to spend at least 4 hours a day. Okay? But right now, you ask me, I basically scattering all over the daily work. Whenever I feel free, I go into the internet. Is great, you know that. So you can pick up information.
Yeah. Okay. So because of time, we really need to move on. Maybe I'll take 2 more questions and then we'll go. Okay. How do you see learning the different arts? 有那么多门派，你觉得你们怎么看 应该学哪一个门派啊？有没有冲突？如果我想学又学这个又学这个，有什么冲突？
Well, I think basically it's no conflict. Okay. First of all, you have to ask yourself, okay, you want to go for internal or external? Okay. I never learned the external martial art. I started with internal. So in the past, I started with the Yang style, and then later on, I get into an opportunity to learn the Wudang Tai Chi, which is internal. Internal is very broad, including like Master Guan's learning the Ba Gua, Xing Yi Ba Gua, and also the Wing Chun. Okay, as what I understand, is not fully external. I seen the guy in Wing Chun also, in between external and internal. In order to, in terms of Tai Chi, I would recommend it just starting with basic, ground, like the Jiben Gong, the basics that have to understand, like what's the 13 technique. Because it doesn't matter, you learn Wu style, Yang style, or any style of Tai Chi. 13 techniques is very important. Okay, later than that, you can learn the form. It shouldn't make any difference if the Yang style or Wu style. There's no saying that one is better than another.
Yeah, and I think, once again, I think it's really up to the individual. What you want to get out of it. If you notice, a lot of the masters of behavior, they have learned many different styles over the years. And eventually they may have one or two of their favorites, but most people learn different things over the years. So it's really up to the individual and up to your relationship with the master. And sometimes it's really based on luck, whether you found the right teacher for you or not. There are many different masters. I mean, sometimes their style may not match yours, right? So it's really up to you to really do the searching, trying it out, see whether that's something for you. So it's very individual. Okay.
So, so after you learn the basic, you go to the form, and the form I recommend it goes pushing hand. When I say using pushing hand, it's not using a lot of force. It's got to be yin and yang, soft. And then you go to application. How I get to application is I learn the form, application, go back to the form. That's how I get into how to use
That's
it.
specifically about Tai Chi. Anyway, your question there.
Yeah. When we practice at the Shogi, I learn the weapon and the why.
我们学武的时候应该又学拳又学兵器吗？为什么又学兵器？
我说两句。我是来自中国著名的武术之乡沧州。我们沧州，武术名人辈出，门派众多。中国一共有129个拳种，我们沧州就占53个。
Master Wang came from Changzhou, an area is very famous for having many different styles of Kung Fu and many different masters of different styles of Kung Fu. All over the country, they have calculated they have at least 120 some different styles. In that one region, they have over 50 some different styles already.
我们那里有通臂拳、劈挂拳、
劈挂、通背、
八卦拳、
八卦掌、
形意拳、
形意拳、
搓脚，搓脚是个门派，弹腿、
盘腿、
六合、划拳、燕青、
燕青拳
等等。如果有学这些拳种的，可以任意选。希望到我们沧州去学武。谢谢。
So he is inviting all of you, if you have an opportunity to visit Changzhou, you're welcome to go study martial arts from there. Any other questions?